Well, it's been difficult week after week to know what your lineup is. Do you know what it is?
Not quite. I mean, we're still. I'm not going to hide from the fact we're still dealing with a bit of illness around the footy club, but we feel like we've come through the other end of that. So, hopefully, we'll be as we're selected, and that's what we hope and expect. But that doesn't mean we will, because last week, the day before a game, I thought we were going to be similar too, and we end up making 3 changes.
So. Who's troubling you the most?
Illness-wise, no. A couple of coaches this morning, physio and a coach, but not so much the players. So I'm pretty optimistic around the playing group remaining the same. So, as I was last week, I was pretty optimistic until whatever day we played last week, Saturday morning.
He takes through Dante's setback.
Yeah, he got a little nick in his quad at training on Thursday night, which you all seen, and we won't take any risk with his left leg, so it's not his kicking leg. It's pretty ultimately should be pretty short term, but he's a young player who we're really excited about, and he's been enormous with being able to carry the load for us. So, but we feel like we're okay in that position. We've got Lloyd Finlayson that can help us and support us, which we didn't have Finlayson last week, so that helps.
Sam Hayes listed as 2 to 3 weeks in medical report. Obviously an emergency now.
Yeah, no, he's fine to play if we need him. Yeah, Sam's fine to play. He trained Thursday night and he was fine to go. So, obviously he's emergency based on the fact that we've had Dante in some doubt, and we'll work through that from now till game time. But he's right to play if he had to get picked, if that's what you're asking me.
When did you get the approval for Lear and Jones to be able to play? How did that play out?
Oh, well, the whole process, and I've got to be very careful clearly, the whole process of concussion there's a 12-day protocols I think that we go through, and each step takes its turn, and their last step was basically Thursday. So they've been cleared to play, and they've passed all the medical requirements that they need to, and safety is first and foremost our ultimate aim, and we're really comfortable that both players are ready to play with a clear mind.
Everyone talks about connection in footy. You need blokes to be connected to get a best result. You haven't been able to connect anyone for 5 weeks. How are you going through that, just making sure that you can get a performance when you've got so many changes in the selection?
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the challenges of our performance run at the moment, and in our results, is there's no doubt it plays a part in some of the results we've had. There's been a significant couple of games that we played really well in, but we didn't win. And that may or may not have been due to personnel in and out of the team over a period. But every side's dealing with that, and I don't have too many problems with that. Our opportunity is to maximise the position we've put ourselves in for the first 3 quarters of the season, and we're having our little tough trot with availability at the moment. But I watched the game last night. I've seen tough trots continue, and I think that's just part of the season. And I always say it: wait till you get to the end of the year, reset, see where you're at, see where you've qualified, and make the most of your opportunity. Because the next 3 weeks is critically important to our finishing position, but then it becomes a whole new game, and we know that.
What do you make of GWS in their form recently?
Oh, they're as good a team as there has been in the competition in the last 2 months. Along with Carlton, I think they've won 7 or 8 of their last 8 or 9 games. They've won here. They've got a strong record here at Adelaide Oval. We understand the size and the challenge that's coming our way, but as a coach, it's no different to us. Every week has that enormous challenge, and we have great respect for the competition. So we expect their best, and knowing that we have to bring ours.
You've only had winning streaks and losing streaks this year, kind of played through those patches. When you're in the midst of a losing streak, does it weigh on the mind of players when it gets to kind of 3 or 4 games?
I'm sure it would. I'm sure they'd be preferring to win, but the reality is you've got to have balance, and I think the balance in our performances and review with balance is really important, and we do that. Over the last 3 weeks that we've reviewed with great balance. I think we've reviewed with enough positivity around what we're doing well, yet we haven't been able to get the result. And there was the showdown in the middle, which was a disappointing performance by us as a team. But either side of that, I think we've played pretty solid. So the balance is really important. I think you got to help your team believe sometimes, and I think right now that's our job, and I certainly believe in them.
So after such a rough patch, does this feel like the week where you can basically get everything back together and start going forward?
Yeah, last week was that. The week before that was that. I feel like that every week, Hazy, if I'm being honest. And I want to get back on the path of winning and consolidating what we've done through this season. And we've earned the opportunity to consolidate. But first and foremost, you need to get that first win. And sometimes that first win that you're trying to break out of can be a bit scrappy, can be a bit ugly, but can be the win you need to get going.
You mentioned sort of you're trying to get the best final position possible towards the end of the season. Have you got a sort of ideal bracket scenario in mind with the finals?
Yeah, win as many as we can and see how high we can qualify. I mean, ideally, the starting spot is 1. That looks like it's taken. We got to work really hard to be trying to be 2 and 3 and see where we end up. Hopefully that's where we're aiming for. We're aiming for the best possible position, and that hasn't changed. It won't ever change until round 24 is done.
All the years since you played the Giants, where do you think this one trends to, this game, the way both teams have played? They had a long winning streak, you had a long winning streak. Where do you think this one trends to?
The whole competition, there's so many cracker games that you look at them and you look at the outcomes of those games and you think this is going to be a big game because they're desperate to make it. We're desperate to finish highest we can, and that's going to bring energy and intensity from both teams. I think it'll be a ripping game, and if you've got nothing on tomorrow afternoon, I think it's a good spot to be. Come and have a look, and because it'll be a tough game of footy. And they've, Adam and his team have really got them going in the right direction, and we understand the threat. They've always had an enormous amount of talent. There's enormous amount of talent, but they've got a bit of they've got a bit of grunt about them, and they're working pretty hard at the moment.
So how do you balance how you use Finlayson? Because he'd be very handy kicking goals, as you know, but you also need him to ruck. So how do you work out where to use him most and when to use him?
I think that's the art of the game, and the way the game's unfolding, you've got to know which lever you're going to try and pull at what time and where you need to use that individual or individuals. You just got to be flexible enough to know that it may not go according to script, and you may have to go outside that. It may go according to script, but all we do as coaches is prepare for all those alternatives. We have a chat around what ifs and what goes on and what doesn't go on. So our flexibility is really is equally as important as the players.
So the script at the moment, majority minutes ruck for him.
We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see when we get here and what the game looks like for the start of the game for a start. What's the weather going to be? What's it going to do? Where's our threats? Where's our opportunities? They'll always be something that we consider before we get there. We have a plan, clearly, but I'm not going to put that on the table for the Giants.
You concerned about your scoring power because of all the changes you've constantly been making in the last few weeks? No Dixon there, of course. No,
not so much. I thought we scored pretty well last week down at Geelong, which is typically a very, very hard ground to score on. I don't know what we actually ended up scoring, but we scored pretty well. I think if we can play with the freedom with ball in hand that we were able to last week at times, I think we'll score. And I think that's around the way the team moves the ball more than the individuals who are in front trying to execute, because the scoring will come from all different types. Clearly, one week it may be a Marshall, it might be Finlayson, it could be Rioli last week who pops up and kicks multiple goals. Rosie, Butters, Bo, Wines, midfield group kick goals, running backs kick goals. So over the course of 4 quarters, we just hope we put a score on the board that's enough that they're unable to compete with.
Did you get any satisfaction or, more importantly, any understanding by ringing the AFL umpiring department and working out what had happened last week?
No, it was not so much around last week. It's around marking contests for me. I think that the clarity of marking contests is really hard to accurately inform your players which is the right and wrong way to go about it, because there's so many different interpretations at times, and I think it's a little challenging. And I spoke to Dan, and Dan wouldn't mind me saying that we had really good conversations this week around we're trying to support and help each other here, and we want to know what's the best way for us to play the game, because we have given away a lot of free kicks. That's got nothing to do with the umpires. That's got a bit more to do with what we're playing like. And in some ways, is it an award to be an aggressive and assertive and an attacking team that goes after the oppo that you maybe give away too many free kicks? I don't know. And I prefer the free kick count was closer to even, and I prefer the free kick count to be in our favour if I had a choice. But it's a game of footy. It's always up and about.
So you're asking about what is chopping the arms, what's front on contact?
Yeah, all those things. You're always looking for clarity, I think, and that's what every coach in the competition is always after. You just want some clarity around what that looks like.
What do you feel the energy levels of your group are? Because
really high. I actually do. I think they're really high. I think they're okay. I think this team, they've dealt with some challenges over the last couple of years, and this is at the moment our form suggests we've certainly challenged, but I have and will always be really optimistic around what they're capable of, and I think they believe that too.